As you guys are aware, Resident Evil 4 VR has been out for a little while now, and I just wanted to talk about it, kind of giving my thoughts on what I liked and didn't like about this particular port, and obviously the one thing everyone is complaining about. I recently took my time to beat the game and really take my time with it, and I have a lot to say. But as per usual, let's talk about the positives first. First, I want to talk about the immersive feel and world of Resident Evil 4 in VR. It's an experience like no other. Actually feeling like you're there in the world and getting to interact with everything within the world is just surreal. Opening cabinets, manually flipping switches, opening doors to the next room, interacting and walking up to the merchant, seeing Ashley behind you, talking to Hunnigan on the phone. It really adds to the immersion and makes you feel like you're there as Leon, and it's fucking awesome. But it is terrifying at the same time. The vertigo, probably one of the scariest encounters I have ever had in VR. I'm serious. I do have some negatives with this area of the game, but I'll talk about those later. The overall world and immersion in this port is just really well done, and I actually felt like I was there blasting away Ganados, and it felt amazing. Next, I want to discuss the combat and the comfort of the controls and overall movement. I know some people struggle with motion sickness, so thankfully they made some things such as teleporting for that audience, which is nice to see. Really, the movement style boils down to your own preference and your own comfortability, and Resident Evil 4 offers more than enough for that. Not only did I just mention teleporting, but there's snap turning, smooth turning, which you can adjust how quick it is. You can play seated or standing up. You can use a quick select wheel or use immersive, where you can grab your weapons from various areas of your body, which in my opinion is way cooler and adds to the immersion and is what I stuck with for my entire playthrough. There are a lot of settings you can adjust for your own comfortability so you can have the best experience possible, which brings me to my next point, and that is the combat. The gunplay feels like super hot but in real time, and I'm very happy about that, and I'm sure a lot of you will be as well. Not only do you have to draw weapons yourself, you have to reload your weapons yourself. You can draw your handgun from your right hip or your left hip because you can choose your dominant hand so everything swaps, so your two-handed weapon would be on your left shoulder, healing items on your right, etc. But you can draw your one-handed weapon from your hip, and you have to reach down to your other hip when you're out of ammo and grab a magazine and reload the gun yourself. It's really impressive that they added that to the game because it really helped add to the immersion. You can even look down on your watch on your wrist and you can see how much ammo you have left and decide when you need to reload. You can also see your playtime and the amount of petas you have too, which is great. I love not having to revisit the menu every time to see little information like that. This section was probably a little long, but I really felt like it was the best part of the game, and I think a lot of people will agree with me on that one too. Now it's time to talk about the things in this game I didn't personally enjoy that much. Most of these are nitpicks, they aren't that big of a deal, but they are things that I just didn't like. The most notable thing are the kick and death animations going into third person when they play. I wish the kicks and death screens were in first person so it would add even more to the immersion when you attack someone or you die, but at the same time I understand it because the spin kicks could really disorientate you and make you dizzy, so that was really their only other alternative. It's the same thing with the cutscenes and QuickTime events. You go into this black area with the cutscenes in front of you, the size of a theater screen that you just watch, which was a little disappointing because they totally could have made the cutscenes in first person where you could just watch everything happen, but they didn't, and I can't think of any reason they wouldn't do that. I suppose maybe because Leon is doing shit in the cutscenes and the camera would be strict to his movement and you wouldn't be able to freely move the camera? I don't know, I was just disappointed by it. Now for my biggest flaw with this game, and that is the Del Lago boss. This fight was hell. I got disoriented so many fucking times doing this, between having to reload the harpoon gun, look around with the headset, move the boat, and control the camera all at the same time. Got really overwhelming and really frustrated me every time the boat crashed and I got transported into a QuickTime event and had to make my way back to the boat. It was so frustrating to control that the boss wasn't really that fun to me. Now those are my main flaws with this game, but I do have one more complaint to talk about, one that I think people care about way more than they should, honestly, and that is the censorship in the VR port. When you think of censorship, you might think of blowing the Ganados' heads off, the blood everywhere, the lady with the pitchfork in her face at the beginning of the game. Kinda similar with what they did in Resident Evil 7 in the Japanese version, where they actually didn't have any blood on Ethan's severed hand. It was just like the black goop. But no, all of this is in the game, which is great, but what they removed was a few flirtatious sexual lines of dialogue. You guys know, the flirting with Hunnigan.
Hunnigan, is that you?
Finally, the line's jack-free.
Hey, Hunnigan, no glasses.
Forget the glasses. What's the status of the mission?
Lewis's infamous ballistics line.
Leon! Small world, eh? Well, I see that the president's equipped his daughter with ballistics, too.
Ashley's overtime dialogue.
So, after you take me back to my place, how about we do some, overtime?
Sorry.
All of that is cut from the game, and the uproar that people have been giving this is almost as if that's what made the original good in these people's minds anyway, when it wasn't. It was the engaging combat, the fun story, the adventure, the scary creatures, not the occasional flirtatious sexual dialogue. People are really pissed about this, and I don't get it. I mean, yeah, it sucks that it's gone, and it is very unnecessary, but let's be honest, is it really that important? Is it really important to hear Lewis refer to the president's daughter's boobs as ballistics? Is it really important to hear Leon flirt with his support? I really don't think it is. I think this is just a nitpick that people are really mad over for no reason whatsoever. All these people are distracted by this, and they're not focusing on what makes the game good, and that really annoys me. That being said though, it is a negative I have with the game. It is really unnecessary, and it sucks it's gone, but it doesn't add that much to the game anyway, and anyone who plays the game has seen the cutscenes a million times and will most likely end up skipping them anyway, so it's not like it really matters. They didn't add that much to the game anyway, so really I don't see the problem with it. Sorry I went on a little bit of a rant there, I just get a little heated talking about things that don't make sense. If I had to rate this port, I'd give it a strong 9. There is plenty to love about this port, but there is also a few minor hindrances, some things that aren't really as good as they could have been. But overall, this is a very fun port, and I think that anybody who loved the original Resident Evil 4 is also going to love this. Guys, those are my thoughts on the Resident Evil 4 VR port. Have you played it yet? What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Just sound off in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. It helps out a lot, and I will see you guys in the next one.